Hello and welcome to another episode of Teens Time Out. As always, Teens Time Out is a program where we share and we celebrate the unique experiences of teenage life, explore the challenges and opportunities that define adolescence, and dive into the conversation that matter most to teenagers, families, and communities. Well, we have so much to talk about today, but before we do that, we'll have to introduce our guests with us here at the studio. So do stay with us once we return back from this break. Welcome back. With us here is our regular on Teens Time Out. She is no other than Audrey Polycap. Thank you so much for being here again, Audrey.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure, and you look beautiful.
Thank you. Look beautiful yourself.
Thank you, there. Well, we're going to talk about respect, and let's have a brief understanding about respect. Respect in the simplest form is the act of showing high regard, admiration, or consideration for someone or something. It encompasses both the feeling of esteem and the outward experience or outward behavior that reflects that feeling. Respect is a fundamental aspect of healthy relationships, social interactions, and even personal well-being. Before we continue, I want to get your own personal definition, or not like a dictionary definition. A personal, some people would say layman understanding about what you understand as respect is.
Personally, I think respect is having some sort of value for everybody's personal opinions and ideas and points of views regarding anything, no matter whether you agree with it or not. It's just respecting and giving a value to whatever every single person believes, whether you agree with it or not.
Okay, so it's agreeing with what someone else believes in, whether you're good with it or not. That's an act of showing respect.
Just for like giving it value. You must not agree with it, but just don't try to overshine it or whatever. But just give it a value at least.
Oh well, let's see a definition from Immanuel Kant, not Emmanuel. His name is Immanuel is actually the I, not the E. He emphasized that respect is a fundamental moral obligation owed to all rational beings, simply because they are rational, not based on their achievements or social standing. He argued that individuals should be treated as ends in themselves, never merely as means to an end, reflecting with inherent worth. Like, just almost similar with what you stated about respecting the ideology about someone, and whether you agree with it or not, as far as it's something that makes someone happy, you just respect the ideology. We're just having a background check introduction about respect, because oftentimes when people talk about respect, it's just about elders and the younger. I think that's where people always view respect as, but I feel respect cuts across every other aspect. Yes, you can. If you don't, respect can also mean it could be a personal thing. It's not just an elder hierarchy situation. You can, if you don't have respect for yourself, then respect hasn't fallen into play. And some philosophy would say treat others how you want to be treated. I don't know if that makes sense. So if you do not respect yourself, you will not be respected. But I want to ask you a quick question. Should respect be earned? Or is it something that everyone deserves automatically?
I think respect goes both ways. You can earn your respect in certain social standards or social groups, For example, you want to earn respect in a, let's say, a sports team like a football club. You don't just expect them to respect you immediately, but when you show them the amount of hard work that you put in, how well you play, you earn their respect. But also, each and every individual is entitled to having respect. You should respect and value each person, no matter their standing or no matter what they have.
So, in essence, you're saying that it's something that should be earned because you work to get it back, just like the sports scenario you stated. Okay. I also want to ask you, do you have a scenario where you have been respected or disrespected by someone, parents, sibling, and how did you react to it?
I don't think you can pick out one because as a teenager, I feel like I'm easily disrespected by adults because your idea or whatever you think is not really important. They tell you something and you are meant to do it as quickly as they say. But I feel one instance is when I would say I was disrespected by a junior, right? I think I can't remember the instance because I was works prefect. And so the whole thing was I asked her to do something and she just bluntly said it out, I will not, and walked away.
And they should do that in the presence of everybody.
We're literally having devotion. And I normally I don't even like punish much because I'm just me. And so I was like, you came late. Go and join the line now. So they can give you a punishment. Because I was on duty, but I was not really like serving that particular day. She was like, no, I will not. I just walked away. And everybody was just looking, expecting me to be harsh and call her back. That day. But the truth is, I was really, really pissed off that day. And I said my mind. I said whatever I want to say. And then I left her to do whatever she wanted to do. So later on, she had come back to apologize.
Yes. She came back to apologize, but the disrespect has already been given to you at that time. So the way you reacted was, you did, what did you actually say at that time? You said out your mind.
No, after she had
after she
gone,
reacted,
after she had reacted and left, I just went to her sister and then her school mother to point out what she had done, right? And so she just did it, and that was she had separated me twice though, but that was the first time, and it had passed, and then she apologized later on. I think so. Later on in the mix.
Okay, so let's say you weren't the work prefect, and she had done that to you. Would you have felt the same way?
Yes. Because
why would you feel the same way?
Even as I was works prefect, like I said, I was not really serving because as a works prefect, I was not always at my post. I would tell my classmates, whether you're a prefect or not, you're a senior, come out and punish. So they'll be there to punish and I'll just be overseeing whatever they were doing. So no matter what, you have no right to disrespect whether your classmates or your senior. You just have to, because she actually did come late, you were at fault. Do you understand? You have to respect every single person, no matter whatever is happening. At least give respect.
Okay, I want to ask you, what's the difference between fearing someone, like being afraid of someone, and respecting someone?
I think respect is just you have a, what's the word? Fear is that when you see the person, your heart literally skips. Like you are afraid of what the person can do to you. But respect is you are just respecting the person based on the fact that they are a human being and they deserve respect no matter what, and you will treat them how you want to be treated.
So do you think sometimes we confuse respect and fearing someone?
Yes. I think in our African society, lots of elders want more fear than respect from their subordinates or from their juniors. They want more of you must fear me than actual respect. Yes.
Okay, let's look at what some philosophers said. Some philosophers like Darwell distinguished between respect is distinguished between appraisal respect, which is a positive evaluation of a person or their actions, and recognition respect, which is acknowledging someone's basic moral standing. I want to also come back home because Teens Time Out, it's mostly centered around home, family, teens, and all of that. Let's come back home now. Before we go back on the other parts on respect, in the home, do you think right now in this present generation that parents actually still get the respect that they deserve to have from their children or from their teenagers? Due to the whole social media thing, stand on your word, don't let anybody treat you bad, with so much Western knowledge of talk back to your parents when they speak to you in a way you don't want, stand your ground, don't let anyone intimidate you, so many things around. And, and all of that. Do you think most of our parents are still respected in the African home?
I feel like, yes, they actually respect. Although the Asians' thought of respect was more fear, but the Western knowledge coming in has made it sort of a closer relationship in most families between the children and the parents. So there is more of a relationship, a bond between them that both the parents and the children respect one another and know, like you said, the tone or whatever to be able to speak with one another. So in most homes, there is still respect among the child and the parents.
Okay, so what you said, what was being practiced then was fear and not respect.
To some extent.
So those times when they say greet your elders, and let's go back. Let's talk about greeting. Is greeting an act of respect?
Yes.
Act of showing respect. Is it an act of love?
Yeah, it depends on the way you greet though, but I feel like greeting is really an act of respect when you greet your elders or you greet people that you respect.
When you greet random people that you do not know, is that an act of respect to them?
Yes.
Okay,
It's an act
and
of
then when
acknowledging them.
acknowledging that when you do not greet, that means you're being disrespectful.
No, sometimes your mind may not actually have been there. Whether you're passing a busy road, you can't start greeting every single person, but at least maybe you're passing someone and you at least, even if it's one or two people that you greet, yes.
Also, why do they say that greeting is an act of pleasantries, exchanging pleasantries, all of that? Why isn't is it seen as an act of respect?
Pleasantry is also having respect because when you are open to letting other people's, you know, when you're giving other people pleasantries, you're actually acknowledging them, thereby giving them respect. So both ways, it's still respect and it's still pleasantry.
So if I meet someone and I don't greet the person, that means I'm being disrespectful, in the African sense, or just in every place, in every sphere we find
I would
ourselves.
say if you meet somebody and that like you don't know the person at all, and there is no need for you to greet the person, and you pass, I don't really see it as not having respect to that person.
So if you don't know the
It's just a
person,
personal choice whether to greet or not.
okay, well, and then I want to talk about self-respect now. Do you have self-respect for yourself?
Yes, so yes.
Okay, can you please educate us on how to be self-respectful?
Um, for this modern time, a lot of teenagers or adolescents don't really have the what word like that value for themselves or that ability to value their own thoughts and their own opinions and whatever they are feeling. They easily let the social norms, so to say, overshadow or overshine their own thoughts. For example, let me say I know that I can't do some certain things. That I respect myself and I respect my opinions. And I know that this is not what I'm meant to do. But because of what other people are saying or how other people are behaving, I just easily, do that I'm not meant to do. That's not having enough, apart from peer pressure and the rest, but that's not just having enough self-respect for yourself to know that I'm bigger or I'm better than some certain things. Someone can't make or shut up my opinion. Someone can shut up my side of whatever story it is. I can air my view. And if the person doesn't want to, so be it. I can do like according to my own opinion.
Do you think that self-respect and confidence comes hand in hand?
Yes, very much, because when you have confidence, you can be able to bring your self-respect more. Because if you do not have confidence with yourself, you really won't be able to have that self-respect that you are going to be looking for inside of you.
So from what you're saying now, if I respect myself, it's okay for me to respect you. So first off, we should start from respecting ourselves so it's easy for us to respect each other. And that's being self-aware. It's more like being self-aware about yourself, things you can take for yourself, things you cannot take in, from someone and all of that, and not being talked down on situations like that. Just like the scenario you gave about the way the junior treated you, it actually showed a sign of self-respect, because some would have probably given her a slap on the face, dragged her back, because you were saying that they were expecting you to react, but you literally did not react. So that was an act of self-respect, if you may ask me. So that's an applaudable one to you, though. So yes, that's why I asked you if you have self-respect. So it shows you actually do. So now, do you think the society is actually practicing, due to value norms and everything? Do we still practice respect, as the case may be? Do we find it a valued moral?
I really don't. I feel like a lot of teenagers don't have respect at all. Even they don't even have for themselves to have for others, and even the
I'm sorry, what do you think could be the cause of that?
I think maybe the Western influence has made them feel like, I really don't know.
Well, so that what you're saying now is our kind of respect is different from the Western kind of respect.
Yes.
So we need to understand the kind of respect that we practice that is different. And can you mention some of them, if you know, please?
Like greeting, adding titles. The Western world doesn't mostly add titles when greeting their elders. For example, you can say Miss Susan, but the Westerns will be like, just call me by my name. We don't do that. You will say Mr., you say Mrs., you say Doctor, Professor. You must add the title. You must greet, like when your elder comes, when you meet an elder, you have to greet. When you meet a relative or someone that you can't just pass the person. You have to greet. You have to answer politely, speak politely, let your elders speak to you before you can pass out your own point of the view, or your own point of whatever has happened. You have to understand that no matter what, yes, they may not always agree with whatever your elder does, but they are still your elders.
Okay, talking about elders, do they also have a role to play? Like some part of the Bible says, parents will not provoke your children to wrath, where they also say children obey your parents. So in essence, it means if elders respect themselves and respect the younger generation, they will receive the same respect in that instance. Okay, let's look at a few things about why respect matters. Respect matters because it fosters positive relationships, builds trust, and creates a sense of safety and well-being in interactions. It acknowledges the inherent worth and dignity of individuals, promoting cooperation and a harmonious environment, showing respect even when there are disagreements. I think the same thing that you stated here is crucial for healthy relationship and a functioning society. I feel respect also plays a role. Like if you respect someone, it's easy to love the person. It's easy to interact. It's easy to want to work with the person. If you have respect for someone, you just find yourself it depends, because like you stated about the greeting aspects, where you don't greet everybody. Because you want to show respect doesn't mean you walk up to a stranger and want to respect you, then you prostrate on the ground, just like our brothers, greet elders, so you just need to know who the person is. But I think at every point in time, anybody will come across with on a daily basis, we should show the person an act of respect in one way or the other. It doesn't mean you have to give money. You don't have to hug the person. There's just certain way even body languages, there's just way you can act around someone that it could show an act of disrespect or respect. In schools, in the house, they tell you, please come and do this. And you're like, okay, I'm coming. Or you're being talked to and you're on the phone. I think, or some people, because I think disrespect is on a different perspective, because we have philosophers that also define respect on different perspectives. So people reason respect differently. Just let's say where I'm talking to you and then you're talking to someone else. I could find that as a disrespect. But you might not find that as a disrespect. You could be talking to me and I'm busy pressing or checking the social media, whatever is happening. You find that as a disrespect. I might be like, I'm listening to you. Don't worry, I'm listening to you. But that's an act of disrespect because at that time, you just want my full attention. And also, I think we should just, if we decide to work with people, we should get to understand them to know what is that thing that they find disrespectful before we interact with the external society. That's why I asked you about the home, how you can also show respect. So if we have to come back to the home, what are a few things that you have done personally that has been pointed out as an act of disrespect at home? Or you have not been disrespectful? Maybe that's just because you're trying to think about it.
I think because I get easily agitated. That's the word. So I may be speaking and maybe it's an argument or something. And unknowingly to me, I've already increased my tone or my pitch or my volume.
And that's when you're talking to an elder.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe let me myself and my mom, and something maybe like I'm having like an argument, right? And in that argument, I'm trying to like defend something, and in that, because I'm trying to prove a point, I will increase my volume. You understand? And that's technically like shouting. To me, I may not be shouting because I'm still agitated, but that's a sign of disrespect.
Okay. I want to ask you another question. What are some ways young people can model respect in a disrespectful word? Because we've come back to that. You pointed out that an act that you've done that was an act of something you did that was an act of disrespect was being on the tone of your voice, which normally it's not something you find as disrespectful, but it was seen as an act of disrespect. So how do you think younger generation can model respect, in a way where it's suitable? First, to say charity begins at home, because I really don't know how that works, but I just want to get your thoughts as a teenager, please.
I feel like when a child is modeled or is grown in an environment that respects both the juniors and the seniors and the peers, they understand how to respect others when they go and meet others in the outside world. Secondly, I think that teenagers should learn to be open to people's what's the word? Be open to people's opinions, but you must not take their opinions.
So that's being empathetic.
Yes, you can just like, let's say your friend likes football and you like basketball. You can hear your friend talk about the games and whatever, but that doesn't mean that you must like football. You can just listen and respect the person, but that doesn't mean you have to change your own opinion and change your own point of view for anybody. And I feel like the act of treating people how you want to be treated really helps create a safer environment, like you said, because when you're respected, you feel good no matter what. So just that act of, this person would like to be heard. I will not shut the person up. I will let the person speak freely, and I'll find a way to not agitate or not upset that person. I'll find a way to respect that person's point of view and that person's opinion, and to be able to foster respect.
Okay. Well, let's look why respect matter, or how we can promote or show respect quickly. To promote respect, actively demonstrate it in your action and words. Show respect by actively listening. You just said that. Being considerate of others' feelings and opinions and acknowledging their contributions. Promote respect by creating an inclusive environment, encouraging open conversation, and leading by example. I have a question actually, but let me just take this quickly. Active listening, it involves paying attention when others speak, make eye contact, and show genuine interest in what they have to say, even though you're not interested. Yes. Empathy. Try to understand things from other people's perspective. We will not always agree with people, but if you value that person, I think you should just try to put yourself in that person's shoes and just want to hear them. I think respect also works hand in hand in leadership. Because if you possess a leadership quality, it's easy for you to respect people. Yes, because you listen to their opinions. If you're a leader, people come with you with complaints. You have to listen. So if you don't possess that leadership quality, I don't think you want to respect people. So you just have to possess that leadership quality first before you know how to respect people. And then that involves leading by example, demonstrate respectful behavior in all your interactions. I want to ask quickly, before we call it a day, do you think respect is something we should learn? Is it something that should be taught as a child grows? I saw a video of this little child. His mom was making a video of a girl. The mom was making a video of her daughter in the restaurant. I think she wanted ice cream. So she was running towards the counter to point at the one she wanted. And there was this other boy with his mom. So as the little girl was running towards the counter, the small boy ran into her and they hit each other. So she felt bad. So this boy walked up to her and gave a kiss on her palm, like, I'm sorry. And this is a little boy. So you can imagine the kind of thing that they teach this boy in the house. When you hit someone, you say sorry. When you kick someone, you say sorry. You do not take what is not yours. So if this little boy at that age already knows how to treat her, because he ran into the little girl, there was nothing else he could do. He just gave her a kiss on the palm, and that's a way of saying, I am sorry. That means he respects her. So that's how he starts. This is why when he grows older, he's already living with that. So I want to know, is this something that should be taught, or it's something that we should all grow with? Because we can still say there are still people that do not respect people's opinions. What do you think in that?
Yeah, respect is meant to be taught even in schools, in our religious, what's the word? In our religious gatherings, it's meant to be taught, because that's why we have all these workshops in schools, and we have group projects, group A, group B, do this. That act of having a team and team effort is also a way of respecting, because you are trying to let everybody bring their ideas into one, and be able to respect each person's opinion. That way, you are fostering respect and you are teaching these kids. I will use an example, right? During a project, right, we're given to create a drama, write it, right? And I already had like an idea of my own, because I was made the team leader, and I already had an idea of my own of how, even a name, right? But each person had their own idea. So we were about 10 or 16, and I made sure that every single person brought out, even if it was a tiny point, whether they wanted it to do it or not. And we created a drama that had every single person's idea, and every single person participated. That's having respect for everybody, and that was in a school environment. That was teaching each person how to have respect for everybody's opinion, no matter whatever that opinion may be. Because even at that point, right, some of the ideas didn't seem to flow with whatever I had in mind. But just having respect meant that it wasn't only my idea that to bring that drama to life. Since it was a group work, every single person had to, yes. So we had to find a way to make it work. That was having respect.
Oh, that's a lovely one. Well, in conclusion, viewers, respect is more than politeness or good behavior. It is a deep acknowledgement of each person's dignity, worth, and humanity, whether it's through listening, empathizing, or treating others with fairness. Respect lays the foundation for trust, peace, and healthy relationships. In a world where disrespect often gets louder attention, Being respectful is a bold act. It means leading by example, choosing kindness over cruelty, and standing up for what is right without putting others down. So let's just talk about respect. Let's not just talk about it. Let's live it in our schools, our homes, our friendship, and even online. Because when we show respect, it creates the kind of world we all want to live in. Because if you disrespect people, you literally in one way or the other gets back the same way. But that's actually my thought. But quickly before we call it today, we always have to do that. I want to get your final word of advice, something to just share with our viewers, please.
Respect doesn't have to be only greeting people, it has to be acknowledging everybody's point of view, respecting whatever anybody has to say, making sure that your own point of view is not overshadowed. You have to make sure that everybody has a way, and you have to accept everybody's opinions despite all.
Thank you, Audrey, for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on respect. Well, we'll actually would have called it today, but we're still open to sponsorship of the program, advert placements. Well, before we call it a day, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on our social media platforms on Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok on Atlantic TV Net, and on Twitter on Atlantic TV. Well, we have our TV platform, Ifastech TV platform, and Niger TV platform. These are social medias where you can connect with us. As always, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do have a beautiful day.